Hello, everyone. My name is Habib, and yeah, I've been typed in objective personality for about 4 years. My full type is double masculine SETE, play, consume, sleep, blast, last. But really, as I put down here, I'm just some kind of ESFP. One of my main motivations for creating this kind of video is to show you my journey and how it's going with me with learning objective personality and attempting to make some changes in my life. Maybe that'll give you ideas of what to do or what not to do. And, it's I'm just hoping to share my journey and maybe you'll get something out of it. But if you don't like this kind of content, definitely just skip to the next video. This is just a yearly video I like to make. So, it's unlike the other content I make. So, feel free to just skip to watch whatever you want, God damn it. So this video is going to cover why I think objective personality is useful. I'm also going to cover different things I've done in the last year and challenges I've overcome, as well as kind of the future of this channel and things I'm going to be doing moving forward. Hopefully that gives you some ideas or at least some entertainment. So first, I want to talk about why objective personality is worth investing in. One of the key aspects of objective personality is that it's really a map. It's best used as a map, which means it contains categories or information about where to go, but it doesn't mean that when you're looking at the map, you're actually physically going to those places. So just because you know your type, just because you understand the intricacies of why someone is a certain type, or maybe you know the details of your own psychology, it doesn't mean that you're actually going to live a better life. That's something that you need to go on your journey to figure out and start working and practicing different techniques and different things in your life. It's one reason why I offer coaching, because it is difficult to traverse the different areas and territories around personality aspects. It can be very tricky to actually go on the journey. What I will say is it's an amazing map. It's very good at what it does, but you have to know what it's actually doing for you and what it's not doing for you. So it's important to draw those distinctions and draw the line of what these categories can help you with. My next point is that objective personality is worth investing in because it's a surgical psychological tool. Now, if you have a certain tool at your disposal, you also need to know how to use it. So you basically have 9 coins or 11 coins if you're including the social types, which are basically categories and different aspects of yourself that, if you really fold it out into the binary aspects, you're going to get 22 different categories of what you need to pay attention to. You have, for example, intuition and sensing. You have generalizing and specializing. You have feminine versus masculine sensory. So every single person is going to need a little bit of everything, but you can also delegate to other people. And that's why it's important not only to understand yourself, but you want to understand other people. And the last reason I have today for why objective personality is really worth investing in is because it gives you a starting point for self-growth. So you can grow in so many ways using so many different tools and techniques out there in the world. But what objective personality provides is a very concise, essential approach to self-growth. There are so many self-help books out there, and people can shit on them as much as they want, but they're all probably good. The real problem is that there are many different options for how you can grow in your life. And what objective personality does really well is it boils everything down into an essential kind of NI concept of how you can take a certain psychological concept and apply that to your life. And it can apply to every area. One problem is that it's not very specific, so you may have issues there in figuring out the nitty-gritty details. So it's been 4 years since I've been typed. I think in previous anniversary videos, I've covered, my reaction to being typed as an ESFP. It can be very difficult dealing with the ramifications of, oh, I have this type, now what? Or I thought that I was this other type, or I have these other coins. For example, I thought I may have been intuitive, but I didn't really understand what that was. Pretty much as I said, you're going to have access to all 22 personality traits, but you're going to lean on one side for 11 of them. But it doesn't mean that you're missing the other 11. I think it's still early days in understanding the implications of what the type is. So because I'm an ESFP, does that mean that I can't do anything an INTJ can do? It's not really true. But yeah, I'm pretty happy, 4 years in to being typed in objective personality. It's been going really well for me, but it definitely has its ups and downs. And there's a lot of darkness I've processed. So in today's video, we're going to dip our toes a little bit into the darkness, but I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of what I've been dealing with without drilling down too deep. But you can let me know if you want any videos on that kind of thing. The next thing I want to go over is what's worked for me in the past year. I started to trust myself more. So myself having the NI fourth, it's something where I don't believe in myself or I don't believe in my plans. I have both FI and NI as demons. So my own convictions, my own beliefs, my values, I'm not going to place faith in it. I'm not going to put time and effort into the things that I want, the things that I believe in. But over the past year, I've started shifting my tune and putting a little bit more energy than I normally do into my own plans, my own beliefs in myself, my own self-judgments. So that can go positive and negative. I started noticing that I have a lot of harsh self-criticism. But if I'm only listening to the criticisms of others, I'm not going to notice how my own voice is quite mean. So by listening to my inner voice and my inner plans and inner beliefs, I'm able to start building trust slowly for myself. It's still an ongoing process, but I'm excited to be on that journey. It's given me a lot more peace, but there's still a ways to go. The next point is that I've been working on my demons for the past year. It can be a little bit tired in the OP community to talk about working on your demons because it seems kind of cliche. It seems very difficult. It might not be worth it for some people, but at least in my experience, I've been working on my demons with regards to social type. So I've been investing a little bit more in specialization as well as friends energy, which is basically just involving myself with people who I would otherwise see as not worth my time. But I'm leaning into those relationships more. So this could mean spending more time with my family. This could mean setting more time up to hang out with friends. This could also mean taking extra quality rather than jumping to a new project. But yeah, I've really enjoyed working on some of my demons. And the important thing is to not work on all of your weaknesses all at once. So some key weaknesses that I was working on were self-compassion and humility. Basically, my own self-narrative has been very destructive. So I've been trying to remedy that by channeling some compassion towards myself and others, because the more compassionate I can be towards other people who make mistakes, the more compassionate I could be to myself when I'm making mistakes. I can have perfectionistic standards or high achievement standards. I can have very high expectations for what people should accomplish, but watering that down a little bit or just being more understanding of meeting people where they're at, meeting myself where I am, it's been a huge help to me. So another big aspect to this is having a lot of humility. For myself as the number one, I can be quite distant from the idea of humility. Sometimes I can have a lot of pride myself, or I can have a lot of pride in someone else's abilities. I'm like, oh, that person's amazing. Like, why would that person ever mess up? Yeah, it's about giving myself slack as well as other people some slack. And that's because we're all human. So at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all going to be buried under the ground or whatever's going to happen to our bodies, it's we're all going to die. So humility. Sometimes we forget this or we try to negotiate or bargain with it, but we're all going to die. That's not going to change that I know of. So cue the observer rants. Another thing I've done in the past year is I've sought outside help as well as internal help. So quickly touching on the internal help, it just means that I've worked on journaling and a little bit of meditation, but I've consistently done journaling to keep track of where I'm struggling as well as future projects that I need to keep believing in. It basically does wonders for me to keep track on myself and my own internal state. But more about seeking outside help, I've basically sought help with physical therapy for my Achilles tendon injury. That's been good. And I also got some help for psychological therapy. So just processing some childhood trauma, It's helped me process and reflect on a few more layers of my own childhood, as well as how my mindset is working now. This, of course, is still an ongoing process. I'm still going to therapy. It's something that, I see it as an opportunity to keep like leveling up, but it's, more solving problems at their root. So therapy is a little bit more solving problems at their root. I'm really enjoying getting my hands into the soil of, why I have certain beliefs and patterns. A few other things that I've gotten from the outside world include physical, social network. So that just means meeting up with friends or going at hangouts and meeting up with people of all kinds and just being more social. It's something that for me took a dip during the pandemic and it's slowly climbing up, since then. But yeah, especially for myself, being kind of sensory above intuition, the internet isn't always the best place for me. Well, I feel like anyone, but particularly for me as a sensing type, I definitely like to have some connections in real life. I think everyone could benefit from having a few more like real world connections. Something else I've tried to have in the last year was more gratitude for people. This enables me to not only channel compassion, but also work through any bitterness or envy that I have, or anger, resentment. By having gratitude, I'm able to see the positives of my connections with others while working through some of the negatives and not forgetting or denying the negative feelings that I've felt, understanding that things have multiple sides to them, and just feeding the positive a little bit more. The last thing that I got from the outside world that helped me in the last year was spiral dynamics, as well as attachment theory. And it's been really helpful to study these other psychology systems because they offer answers in areas that objective personality doesn't really touch. I think attachment theory is great for relationship type situations, and spiral dynamics is really great for kind of more global societal psychology. It helps me understand where consciousness is going and where my own consciousness is expanding to. So, in this section, I'm going to talk about some challenges that I've overcome in the last year. So, the first one is parenting. Getting my child from 6 months to 18 months has been a lot. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of emotional energy, and yeah, it's very tough for me as a social type one. It takes a lot of tribe driven mentality or friends energy to really get down on the level of a baby and relate with them or connect with them. Parenting might be easier for some people, but for me, it's been a challenge. So I'm putting that in the challenge bucket, but it's something I've definitely enjoyed. I'm definitely very happy with my daughter, but there's a lot of work. Another challenge I've overcome in the last year was I've had a lot of issues with my family of origin. My parents are getting more sick and they're getting older. But yeah, I don't want to get into too many details there. It's my heart goes out to anyone of you struggling with your family of origin for any reason. So one of the fun issues I've had in the last year was I've moved. So that was a typical observer problem, but I think it was handled pretty well. Just, one step at a time, we did it. My wife and I, we changed apartments, and yeah, this one is a little bit more friendly for children. So one of the big challenges I've overcome, but I also don't want to get into too many details, is that there's been a lot of political unrest. In America, things have been very tense and people are somewhat divided. Well, it might be the people versus the government, but yeah, there's a lot of issues here in the United States. And I'm guessing there's a lot of issues all over the world. So yeah, the political unrest has been very challenging. Particularly, it's been interesting because I'm a social type one. I have a little bit of this grandiosity. I feel like it's my responsibility for what the US military is doing and things like this, or where the US tax money is going to. The US tax money has been going to the killing of innocent people for a long time now. And it's just things may or may not have intensified in the last year. So that's something that really troubled me and it continues to trouble me. I'm working through that, and it's nice that's something I use spiral dynamics to really understand. I'll just say that I'm wishing for peace all over the world. I think anything other than that is really short-sighted. So one of the last challenges I've had is feeling unsettled internally. So that's your typical double feminine sleep demon. I have my feminine NI and feminine FI, but I'm starting to get a handle on things, but it's not an easy problem to wrangle. I've taken a bit more of a specialization approach to settling myself down internally and just taking things one step at a time. Because otherwise, the feminine FI and the feminine NI is always second guessing itself, triple guessing itself, because both of my demons are feminine and they're both introverted. So things have gotten a lot easier when I just go with my gut and I stop worrying about being so certain before I do anything. I've started to act with less certainty, and that's been helping a lot. How I see the future of this channel as well as myself, I'm going to continue investing slowly in business as well as myself. So that's like entrepreneurship stuff, but in a more number 3 or number 4 way, which means in a more specialization or friendly way. There's such a thing as soft entrepreneurship, where basically you'll have a little bit more self-compassion and humility, which are two things I really need. And just taking it easy on yourself, but still having goals, still working every day, getting closer to your goals, but not really beating yourself up too much one way or another. So something specifically for the future of this channel is that I'm going to have regular scheduled content. This is the kind of thing I'll always say, but maybe I don't mean it. But here I'm really meaning it, and I'm looking to create some regularity and stability here. Basically, I want this channel to become a regular source of objective personality content. Another goal I have for the future is to engage people with more presence. I don't want to blast, drop the ball as much, and I'm hoping to have a lot more authenticity and sharing how I really feel about things without going overboard, but basically showing up as myself. And I'm going to show up more authentically. That's something that I see people doing across the board on YouTube now, but it's something I personally want to do. If you ever see me not being authentic, feel free to call me out on that. That's I could always be more authentic. You're basically not doing anyone any favors by not being yourself. It's exhausting for you, it's exhausting for other people, and it's hard to watch. Myself having a little bit of a mask on, it's something I'm hoping to take off one layer at a time. It's incredible how many masks I probably have on, but that's something that I feel everyone can benefit from, taking off their mask a little bit and just showing up a little bit more like yourself and a little bit less like how you think society needs you to show up as. Last thing for my future goals is I want to continue allocating time to friends and family. And that means just having a little bit more buddy time with people in my life. And I also want to invest in hobbies as well as self-care. So that's just like taking care of myself. Sometimes number ones and even number twos can be a little too serious on like the business or the marketing of things and the hustle culture. So investing time in less serious things like hobbies as well as people in your life, such as friends and family, I think it's a great service to yourself as well as the people around you. But I think that's one of the best things you can do for your future self, especially when you're about to die. You're looking back, you'll look back at the time you spent with your friends and family, and that'll be time well spent. All right, we made it to the end. So basically some final takeaways for my 4-year anniversary video is I have a ton of videos planned. I've learned a lot in these 4 years. I have so much to share. There's a lot of non-trivial OP content coming your way. These ideas are going to be pretty interesting, and I'm hoping to do more lighthearted or fun content. We'll see if I can make that work. But overall, I also want to be getting better at delivering in a calm and direct way. So that basically means that I want to work on my NF sleep and NT blast for these videos. But yeah, like I said, I'm hoping to be a regular source of content for OP stuff. And I really wish the best for all other creators in the OP space. I hope you take care and invest in yourself. Thanks for watching, and happy 2025.